Hello, welcome back. Alright, so to recap, just because I went through a whole lot at that last one and then mentioned something important at the very end. If you install content pack mods, they're going to more than likely be located here in the compendium. So if you install like, oh, a whole bunch of maps and you're like, oh, where the heck are all my maps? That's pretty much how my reaction was the first time. They are down here into scenes, and you'll see the folders. Some of them will be playlists. It depends on what content pack you put in. And then you click on whatever scene you want, and then find whatever map you think looks kind of cool. It's kind of hard to tell with the little crappy thumbnail, so I usually like to import a bunch and then just see how they look. And the cool thing with most of these content packs, when you import them, they come in with walls and doors designed, which is just oh so nice. So let's see here. There it is, the walls. So here's the walls and everything. So earlier when we imported that vampire spellcaster, let's go ahead and throw this guy right on in. So there's his token. When you click a token, it shows you what they are doing with the dynamic lighting, which is an automatic feature for Foundry. You don't have to worry about setting anything up really, except for walls if you're doing a custom map. But since this was imported, you'll see that all of the walls are already nice and made. The other thing you'll notice is that there are various visual effects going on, which is, well, I guess it's just the one from the fire. But let me zoom in real close so you can kind of see the soft glow of the flame. So this is the basics of navigating around maps. Your players, all they are able to usually see, unless you set it up differently, is what their token sees and what they've explored if you have it set that way. And I think you can configure that on a map-by-map basis. Yeah, here we go. Track exploration progress in the scene. So if you take that off, now everything that he can't see will just be obscured, and it won't, like have it as discovered or however you want to run it. So next up, let's talk about a little bit more with the main play area. This could probably be like multiple videos, but we'll go through actor things first, and then we'll go through we'll just go through this entire left list. Selection, select your token. So if you have multiple tokens around, you have Bob's token, and then you have this guy. You can click and drag, select them both, move them both. Pretty simple. Pretty straightforward. You can also navigate using the arrow keys, which I use a whole lot more just because with clicking and dragging, sometimes things do weird stuff from my experience. And if you try to move, through a wall, it isn't gonna let you unless you have something set up that way. And then if you go over here, you'll notice another cool feature with the walls. There are doors. I don't know if you ever used Roll20 to try to make doors with dynamic lighting, but it was like pulling teeth. Here, they're built into the wall tool, and I'll explain that more in a bit. So, actor control, so that's select tokens. Next up, select targets. If you click this person, there will be a small symbol that appears for other players in the top left of your I guess it'd be pink for this. So that would appear, just so people could say, oh, hey, you're targeting this person. Another cool feature with this is if you're using MIDI quality of life, you'll be able to do a lovely automated attack using your targeting. And I'll explain the mods and stuff and all the fluff a bit later. But this is just for the core things. Next up, we have measure distance. Very classic, like, all right, how far away is a thing? So that's handy to have. Another thing you can do with it, a little well-known fact, if you hold in control and then you click, you can do things like try to navigate your movement out, and it tells you like each stretch and then your total movement that you've gone so far. But yeah, that's that. Art browser. This is part of Plutonium. This is a bunch of like free assets and things that they've gathered you can use to import as a token if you want. Measurement controls. So this is something that I absolutely love about Foundry. You can use measurement controls. You have circle template, cone, rectangle, ray, and clear templates. So you click and you drag, and it tells you how big of an area it is. So 20 feet radius, bam, there you go. And it tells you which squares are getting hit by it. And then to delete them, you just hover over it and you hit the delete button. Another fun thing that Foundry does when you're importing things, if you have a spell book, you click this guy, and it'll allow you to place a measured template based on the spell already. So you just go boop, and there it is. There's the fog cloud range. So that's the measurement tools. These are all, here's a cone, here's a square, here's a ray, and get rid of them all. Next up, we have tiles. These are if you want to construct your own maps, because right now you'll notice that none of these like map assets that are currently imported are movable because they're part of the background image. If you wanted to add a tile, if you had like a chair PNG or whatever, you can add that, or like a treasure chest PNG, you can add that. Or you can add them as tokens. If you add them as assets, they're a little more free to run around, or tiles. And that's what all of these are. It's a place a tile, select a tile, and then look through your files to see where you have tiles at. Next up, draw tool. You can disable this if your players like to draw dicks, like mine sometimes do. But this is, if everyone wants to draw like a tactic plan, if you're all playing remote and you're like, we want to go this way, but like we got to watch out for this. And you can easily clear them all too, which is nice. You can draw a square, draw tools. Pretty self-explanatory. Wall tools. So this is where getting pre-made maps is nice. So if you already have like a map background that you want to use or that you've made, you can slap them in, but it's not going to have any of these walls automatically declared. You're going to have to make them. So, like, let me delete a couple. You'd have to, this is a basic wall, terrain walls, invisible walls, ethereal walls, draw doors, secret doors. So one thing I do like is if you draw a line here, you can, it'll try to anyway. It should auto connect, but it seems to have a difficulty on the points. And if you double click the wall, you can say, how's the movement restriction? So is it a wall they can move through but not see through? Is it a wall that they can see through but not move through? What direction is the wall? Is it a door? And if it's a door, is it open or closed? So now there's just this big door over here. This guy can walk over here and open a big door. And that's something that isn't quite in effect. If a player opens a door, then they can open it from anywhere. Their token doesn't have to be next to it, but you can right click it to lock it as the GM, and then they can try to do it, but it'll play that lock noise. So that's walls. I'm gonna stop here since I'm teetering on 7 minutes. We will continue next time with lighting and music.